Hello and welcome. It is 12:20. It is the 15th day of December, and I am your grumpy guide to all things gaming, the OGGM, with another OGGM adventure, and it's that time again. Yes, as I do every year around this time, it is time once again to relate, in my 40 plus years of experience in this hobby, what I consider my single greatest role playing game story. And of course, it is the Roger and the Fireball story. I have told this tale dozens of times. I love it. It's hilarious. It is probably the greatest moment in my role playing life. I have never done anything that even comes close, except for maybe the Young Keg adventure storyline, but that will be a different vlog as the second greatest. But this is the greatest D&D story I have, because it is 100% true. So let us set the stage. Not surprisingly, it was one of my many attempts to run against the Giants / Giant Slayer / Storm King's Thunder. My usual mashup of those various adventures, basically. A group of adventurers going up against giants who are uniting under a mysterious overlord to do a series of things. And the adventurers trying to stop them from blundering their way. So that's just the stage. We have at the table, a group of people who have been gaming together a long time. We have Roger playing a war wizard, an evoker. We have Tristan playing his twin brother, who is a diviner and an abjurer. So we have one who's basically specializing in offensive spells, and one who's basically specializing in defense and buff spells, and the twin brothers played off each other. We had Aaron, who was playing a dwarf fighter named Dardably. More on him later. We have Richter, who was playing a gnome alchemist. That's very important. Remember that for later. Gnome alchemist. Just put that hanging over here. Believe Jackson was there playing his usual version of Jack Marshall. Yes, it was mostly males. I don't remember if we had any females playing with us at that time. Sorry, you would have been welcome to play had you come. And I think there's one or two others there. It's been a long time. I don't remember anybody. But those are the cores that are important to the story. Roger Yoshida playing his combat wizard. Tristan Marks playing his buff wizard. Aaron Cornelius playing his dwarf fighter, and Tristan Richter playing the gnome alchemist. Those are the important to the story. So, the adventure has been happening for a couple weeks. They've been slowly working their way through the various mismatch. They've come to the first of the giant strongholds, the Hill Giants Keep. A very large stone and wooden structure built to resemble sort of like a combination hunting lodge / Mott Bailey keep, populated by hill giants, orcs, ogres, and various beasts that the hill giants would use both for food and for military support, including several dire bears, dire wolves, stuff like that. Dire bear. Second most important thing. Remember this. Dire bear. So, they are proceeding through their adventures, trying to work stuff out, solve the mystery, kill this bad guy, avoid this bad guy. They eventually get down to the lower levels of the giant keep, and they've set off the alarms. They're being chased by giants. They're going through these dark passageways, fighting troops, fighting patrols, trying to avoid the larger giants, and they come to basically a dead end. They, for whatever reason, don't think there's a way out right now. But they do see a hole in the wall. This is important. Hole in the wall. Important thing number 3. Hole in the wall. They look through the hole in the wall. They see a cave that opens out to the outside world. Remember, they're looking from the back of the cave into the cave general. So this is them, cave, and here's the entrance to the cave. Possible way out. But unfortunately, the hole's not big enough for a full-fledged human being. It's only big enough for, say, a gnome or a halfling. Tristan Richter is running a gnome alchemist. Remember that. Gnome alchemist. So Tristan Richter's gnome alchemist goes through the hole to explore the cave and try and see the best way to reach the exit when he discovers that the cave is occupied by a very large dire bear and her 3 cubs who are hibernating for the winter. So I asked Tristan Richter, all right, well, they're hibernating, blah, blah, blah. Just make a stealth check. It'll be fine. He fails the stealth check. I wrote, okay. Typical, you step on a twig, it snaps. Mama bear looks up. Roll a charisma save. So he rolls a charisma save, and he succeeds. And I'm like, well, gnomes have this sort of thing with animals, right? I mean, normally it's just small burrowing animals because this was old Pathfinder gnomes, 3rd edition. So I'm like, you know what? She's half asleep. You're about the same size. She just sort of reaches over and cuffs you and brings you in, thinking you're one of her cubs trying to get away. So now you're in you're nuzzled underneath her, stuff like that. So this is what the other individuals see looking through the hole, that Tristan Richter's gnome has been grabbed by Mama Bear and cuffed in. And he is now huddled with the other 3 cubs. She's still half asleep. They're all half asleep. Tristan Richter's trying to figure out how can he get out of this without waking up the bear. Maybe he can toss a rope. Maybe he can, subdue it with his spells. Maybe he can dig his way out. He's feeling around to see what kind of treasure is underneath the bear. And his hand grasps something about the size of a rod, because I'm looking at the treasure that the module had given the bear. And amongst the many things that the bear has amongst its treasure is a rod of passage, which is sort of, if you're not familiar with that magic item, basically a get out of situation magic item. It makes magic doors, it teleports, it does rock to mud. It, as its name said, allows you passage through bad situations. So I'm thinking in the back of my head, well, if he figures it out, he could probably use the rod to get out of the situation. So I think he's okay. Plus, the bear's asleep, and the bear thinks that he's one of its cubs. So Tristan Richter's character is not in any danger. And I try to make this clear to him that while he can't move because Mama's got her hand around him, he's not in any danger right now. And, maybe there's a way out, because I'm thinking he'll find the rod, he'll figure out what it is, he'll use it to escape. But the other people are looking through the hole, and they just see that, 400 pounds, 500 pounds, 700 pounds of dire bear is laying on top of him. So they're hemming and hawing how to rescue him. One person suggests, we could use our Dimension Door cloak, because the NPC who's traveling with the party has a cloak that lets him Dimension Door. More on that in a different vlog. We could toss him a rope. We could, try and turn him invisible. We could sleep the bears. They're all discussing how to get him out of this situation, because they don't know that he's not in any danger. Tristan Richter knows that he believes his character's not in any danger right now, but they don't know this. They think he's in danger. Meanwhile, the bad guys are somewhere off in the distance, but they're getting closer, and I'm trying to build up the tension that you guys need to figure out a way out of this situation relatively quick, because the bad guys are coming. Support me, water! I need a sponsor. Okay, so do you have the situation in your mind? And you're thinking maybe to yourself, there's probably a couple ways he could get out of this. We've got a gnome alchemist trapped under a dire bear in no danger. We have another group of adventurers looking through a gnome-sized hole into this situation in this cave. Underneath, in the bedding of Mama Dire Bear, amongst all the treasure from previous victims and sacrifices and whatever, is a magic item called a Rod of Passage, which, if Tristan Richter can get his hands on it and make a successful check, he could use to escape the situation. The other characters are discussing how to rescue him when suddenly Roger Yoshida steps up to the hole and says, I cast Fireball on the bears. 10d6 Fireball. fills the chamber. And this is under the old rules when it has to fill as much space as it can during its few seconds of life. So, boom! And he rolls like really high. Plus, he's an evoker, which gives him bonuses to damage spells. But this is the old evoker in Pathfinder, so he doesn't get that sculpt spell ability that evokers have now. Oh no, he just is casting a super damage fireball in a very enclosed space. All right. Fireball in an enclosed space on the bears that are on top of Tristan Richter's character, the gnome alchemist. Okay, so he gives me the damage, and it was really high. It was like 60, 70, 80 points, maybe higher. All right. It was a long time ago. I don't remember the extra damage. Saving throw. Okay, everybody has to roll their saving throw, including Tristan Richter. So Mama Bear makes her save, of course. Well, actually, I think she failed her save because she was asleep, so never mind. Again, sorry, it's a long time. But anyways, everybody, all the bears have failed their saves. The cubs are going to be dead. Mama Bear is probably either hurt, seriously damaged, or dead. Tristan Richter's character has to make his saving throw versus the fireball. You can already guess what he rolled. He rolls a 1. He rolls a 1 on his saving throw, which means he takes all the damage from the fireball. Not only that, I ask him just out of sheer curiosity, because in the back of my head I remember he's an alchemist. What are you carrying on your character who just rolled a 1? And by the way, he tells me, oh, I rolled a 1, Mike. 80 points of damage? That kills me. I'm dead. All right. What are you carrying? Because it's a fireball, so I don't know. Maybe your potion. He proceeds to list off all the things he's been carrying with him pretty much since the game started, including several vials of alchemist fire, some black powder they've gotten their hands on, some other potions, a magic item. Basically, he is a disaster waiting to happen. He is a powder keg, including carrying some blasting powder that they'd stolen from some of the giant terrorists, kind of like, in Lord of the Rings when the Uruk-hai is running towards the thing with the blasting powder. They have blasting powder. Hit by a fireball, that just goes off, adds to the damage. It's just this, I'm just thinking to my head, this rolling ball of fire just hits the dynamite and the magic items and the alchemist fire and the black powder, and just he's dead, so it means his items, are automatically failing, and it's just cascading, and I'm just like, okay, I'm not even going to do the damage. We just have this James Bond-like scene where people, we cut to the village that's miles away, and as the sun is setting, suddenly they just see this huge mushroom cloud explode in the sky of green and blue and red flames. And all the villagers are like, oh, the sky's on fire, the sky's on fire. All right, so everybody has to roll their saving throws. More than one character died in this. Fortunately, there was a magic item in the party. As I said, there was a dimension door cloak that the NPC had. I was able to rescue some of them. Tristan Marks, in a moment of pure heroism, throws Roger Yoshida's character into the dimension door, sacrificing himself to save his twin brother. A couple other people roll saves. Some of them make it, some of them fail. One person rolls like a natural 20 save and is like shot out James Bond style and parachutes down into the snow and is like, but basically at least 2 members of the party are dead. There's some laughing, there's some crying, there's some yelling, there's some screaming, but eventually everything calms down. We total the damage, and we figure out where everybody is and how much damage it is. And then I blank face, just sort of in shock that this has happened, looking at poor Tristan Richter, who's just lost his character, looking at Tristan Marks, who's lost his character, looking at everybody else who is either damaged. And I look at Roger, and I say, Roger, of all the spells at your disposal, why did you cast Fireball? And God is my witness, his honest answer was, I thought Fireball was a precision spell. Now, if there's any spell in the history of the game that is not a precision spell, it literally says in the name, Fire Fireball. It's Fireball. That is an area effect spell designed to take out large number of peoples. It is not a precision spell. Magic Missile is a precision spell. Fireball is the exact opposite. But for whatever reason, he truly believed it was a precision spell, that it would only affect one target and nothing else. Maybe he thought it was Firebolt. I don't know. And it is because he truly believed it. And every time it came up, he defended himself for 2 or 3, 4 years until he vanished. I don't know where he is. He just stopped showing up. He defended that God is his witness. Fireball was a precision spell. Obviously, people broke down in laughter. The game ended. We went to Denny's. And everybody's just, how hilarious this is. And even Tristan Richter, who'd lost his character, how hilarious this is. And just, just one of those great D&D moments where just everything goes wrong in a completely beautiful way. And no one's upset that this happened because it was just so amazing and so funny. But Roger's practically in tears. He's straight-faced. He's practically in tears. He doesn't understand why we're laughing at it, because he believed it was a precision spell. And in his mind, what happened shouldn't have happened. And no matter how many times we explain to him it's okay, we're not mad, but that's not what Fireball does, still. And again, every time it came up, he defended his choice for like 4 years. Fireball is a precision spell in his mind. Obviously, we know now it is not. And he grew to resent his choice. He grew to laugh and see how fun, eventually he got that, however it was. Anyways, that's the story. I try and tell this story every year about this time of year because it's just such a great story. It's an amazing D&D story. It's probably the single greatest D&D moment I have ever had as a DM. There are some others that come close, but just that, I thought Fireball was a precision spell. Priceless. If you appreciate this content and want to see more, comment down below. If you don't appreciate this content and want to unsubscribe, let me know why you're unsubscribing. If you haven't had a chance to subscribe yet, please take a moment to subscribe and help me hit 250 subs by the end of the year. It helps me know what you want to see in the OGGM adventures, and it helps you know when the next OGGM adventure is up. Till then, remember, Fireball is not a precision spell. I love you, Roger Yoshida, wherever you are. I'll talk to you later.